the movement towards cleaner labels and also the education to the consumers. I have so many friends who tell me, like, I don't even know. They're embarrassed. They're like, I don't even know what my ingredient label says, Kelly. I don't know what it means. And I'm like, I don't either. But I just know how to ask the right questions because I've been in the industry for so long. So I think educating them on what the label says, what it means.
AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Love innovation. AITV Star Human Amplified. Catch the spark, ride the wave. Future's on our side. We got experts talking truth in the stream. Dreaming big.
Yeah, we're live.
That's it, baby. It's time for AITV. Tonight we got a heck of a show, man. There's so much news happening, I just can't even believe it. In fact, my mind kind of exploded because a couple of things today for sure is Sora 2.0.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Rick, I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight. That's how much news broke this week that I had to come back from, and I'm not going to stick around because we've got a couple of great guests tonight. But oh my goodness, Sora 2.0.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that real quickly. But the guests we have tonight are just amazing. We're going to talk all about food and AI with Chef Kelly, and special guest Jasper is going to join us too in just a few minutes. But to get started, we can't be an AI TV show without talking about what's one of the most fundamental. I mean, when Sora came out way a long time ago, it was a year before it actually came out, you were like, oh my God, how is that humanly possible? And then now you can take yourself and put it in the video. I mean, it's just monumental. If you haven't seen it, you can now download it. In fact, I've got a couple of codes to give away if you guys want to do it. It's actually an app on your phone. Get this. And it's a whole social media network made by, guess who? OpenAI. So this is the Sam Altman group, man, and they're just blowing up the planet. And Sam, you can actually have conversations with Sam. And
I love that he's leaning into it because he was like, people are going to clone me anyway, so I might as well just make my cameo appearance, as they call it, available to the masses. So there's some really great content out there, and they're really leaning into this idea that the future of social media is going to be synthetic, at least in part. So we saw this first with Pika, where they had a social media app. Suno is the music, has their own radio stations now. We're starting to really get into this.
Suno, by the way, we're going to do a whole episode on that because they released Suno Studio with Suno 5.0, and the studio allows you to take all the stems out separately. I'm talking about the drums separate from the strings, the bass instruments, the audios. In fact, I had one song that had 5 layers of audios because it was an a cappella group with backup choir. And then I took it over to Logic Pro, and then I tweaked it and put my own stuff in there. I mean, it literally is a DAW, right? It's a digital operating system. What do you call it? Audio workstation. It's an audio workstation. And it's like $14 a month. And you get this DAW. You could create your stuff over in Suno, then port it right over with all the stems and everything. And then it's literally, I mean, my brain's exploding. But
that's a story for another day. Let's talk about Sora.
Yeah, so let's crank this guy up a little bit. I'm going to try to get my volume to work here. But this is just the opening of the video. And the whole thing is, so go check out the actual opening if you want to see more of this. You got us on screen there?
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay,
we might need to fast forward a little bit, though, because, here we go.
Everything you're about to hear and see.
Audio is good. Oh, it was good, and then we lost the audio. It muted.
You got audio?
No, I have no audio. I heard the announcement at the beginning real clear, and then Nothing.
Let me try one more time. Let me see if I maybe muted
Looks
it.
Great though.
Oh heck, it got me on Netflix now. Are you still seeing it? Wow, what do we got here going? Okay, might take me a minute. Are you able to get in there to go back to that? Somehow I've got myself on Netflix instead of.
Let me see if I can call it up here real quick.
Okay, I'm going to try one more time. There we go. Let me see if I can. You can hear me. Any audio?
No, here, let me grab it. I got it up on my screen here.
Okay. In fact, you got to hear the audio, honestly, because it's the most spectacular part. So can you hear me now? Talking? All right, there we go. So he's going to try to present it here. So what we've got here that's really extraordinary about this, and Brandon's going to take over and hopefully get our audio situation kind of settled down here. But it's not only creating the visuals you're about to see, it's creating the audio that you're about to see.
1 year ago, Sora 1 redefined what was possible with moving images. Today, we're announcing the Sora app, powered by the all-new Sora 2. It's the most powerful imagination engine ever built. And it's packed with new features. I'll pass it to Bill for more details.
All the music, all the sound, tap dancing,
now, every video
all Sora
comes with sound.
Sora 2 is also the state-of-the-art for motion, physics IQ, and body mechanics, marking a giant leap forward in realism.
And we're introducing Cameo, giving you the power to step into any world or scene and letting your friends cast you in theirs.
on your phone. I mean, look at the physics of this thing.
On the path to AGI, the gains aren't just about productivity. It's about creating new possibilities.
It's also about creativity and joy. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's why we're launching Sora 2 inside the Sora app, allowing everyone to push the limits of their imagination and create in ways we never thought possible.
Welcome back to reality.
Yeah,
I'm Bill. I'm the head of Sora.
Let's cut it there. So not only is this just extraordinary, so every bit of sound, every physics nuance that you saw there, and there's a video of the horse on the back of a horse riding a horse with a cowboy on top, and the physics are perfect. There's one of a cat on top of a woman's head ice skating, and then the cat falls off and then runs off and ice skates himself. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to put my phone up on screen and show you what the app looks like. So I got access to it today. So you download it. It's on iOS, I believe, at the moment. And I think it's coming also soon to other devices, but you can also get there with, there's Chef Kelly sending me something. Let me go back. Give me just a second to get my screen set up. But what's extraordinary about it is we're at a moment that it's just, okay. Maybe.
Well, and while you get that, Rick, I want to, as my lights go down here,
Yeah.
I do want to share this. So my prompt here was a 90s style newscast where they were talking about artificial intelligence as new technology, VHS style. And check this out. This is a single shot prompt.
Engineers are calling it artificial intelligence, or sometimes this digital twining technology. The idea is to let computers learn and make choices on their own.
Sounds like science.
And he was going to go on to say that sounds like science fiction, but I mean, you couldn't tell me that that wasn't an actual VHS copy. I mean, it's got the 10:22 p.m. It's got the banter back and forth. It's just we're in a whole new world.
Yeah, we're totally a whole new world. So I'm gonna see if I can share my. Can you see my screen? Can you pull it up or no?
You'd have to start presenting.
Okay, let me try one more time, and I'll share my screen here. All right. So let me switch over to my phone. There we go. You can see my phone in the center here.
Yep.
Okay. So this is Sora on your phone. And you just come here and you can go prompt right here. And all you do is enter some text. Now, and you can also upload a photograph here too if you want to. So I can grab a picture and animate that. But just to get you started, you can also create a cameo, which I haven't done yet, by the way. But just to give you an idea. So here's one. This is Lincoln standing on the steps of the Capitol.
Ladies and gentlemen, the government is shut down again, which ironically is the most productive thing it's done all year. Imagine if your boss told you, ladies and gentlemen, the government is...
Did everybody catch that? Is that Lincoln saying the government shut down today? It's ironically, it's the most productive thing it's ever done. And then I went down and I had Baby Einstein. This is my prompt, right? Baby Einstein, explaining theory of relativity.
Time and space change depending on how fast you go. Boom, science.
Oh, we need Baby Einstein to be a guest for our show one day. That was awesome.
Think so. In fact, I'm thinking that we have a guest appearance and it's 3 different AIs talking with each other. I think just have Grok talking to ChatGPT, talking to Claude. I just think that would be like one of the craziest things. We'll have to orchestrate it a little bit. And then I got Kennedy saying,
fellow Americans, ask not what artificial intelligence can do for you, but ask instead what you can do with artificial intelligence. The future is a partnership. My fellow Americans.
So, and this literally
April Fool's Day 2026 is going to be legit. That's all I can say.
Oh, it's crazy. So
I was able to find the runway because I know I want to be cognizant of time. We're already about 15 minutes in. So I want to show the runway sizzle reel of what they're teasing and maybe come back to that on next week's episode.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to
talk about this stuff all day. But I know Chef Kelly and Jasper are patiently waiting in the wings for us here.
Right. So to kind of set it up a little bit. So when Sora made this announcement yesterday, and everybody started looking around for cheat codes, take a look on X and other places because there's extraordinary stuff already done. I mean, it's just so they're 10 seconds long. Just give you an idea. Now, what's cool about it is it's social media network, meaning that you can photograph your face. You just kind of pan it around your face. You say certain words, you give permission, and you can save your cameo. It's your voice cloned, it's your face cloned, and you can be riding a dragon tomorrow and talking to Bigfoot as well as Elon, whoever has created a cameo. Then you have permission from other people to take cameos. All right, so let's fast forward to what Runway put out today in answer because they're all competing, right? So Runway's a competing company. It's a video mainly application company. And this is what they put out today.
Imagine a world where you can start with nothing and make literally anything. No, not that. Nope, not quite. No, almost. Yes, okay, that. Now imagine that you could do this. Make this taller, rotate that, recast this person, and this one too. Now imagine you could watch things play out. Action. Stop, wait. It's too much, right? Going too fast? Can you imagine anyone being able to create anything using only their imagination? That's crazy. Too crazy. Well, that's what some people think. It's too much. Machines that can create anything. Do the things that we do, just better, faster, in infinite different ways? Where does that even leave us? Stop. Take a second. Breathe. This isn't about us versus machines. This is about machines that can make us better, faster, able to explore and express ourselves in infinite different ways. It's not about machines that can create anything. It's about machines that will augment our minds so that we can do things like this. Move them this way. Add someone here. Actually here. Drag this over there. make this funnier, weirder, more exciting, more epic. Imagine a world where anyone can create any world at all. That's the world we're building.
Holy cow. I mean, that's the bomb, right? So, everybody's up one-upping each other, and as if that's not enough, we've got everything else going on here. So, yeah, let's switch gears a little bit. So, I want to.
Yeah. So I'm gonna step away.
Okay.
It's still the tail end of a holiday for us here. So we'd like to welcome Chef Kelly and Jasper onto the stage.
Hi.
Hey guys,
And,
how are you?
Thanks for pinch hitting for us here.
No
And
problem. Happy to be here.
thank you. And I will bid you guys adieu. But Rick, you know where to find me on text if things go sideways. I'll be kind of here in the background.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
Enjoy.
much. Yeah. So, Chef Kelly, how are you today? And we have your friend Jasper.
Yeah.
Could you introduce yourself just a little bit? Because we've got some exciting stuff to talk about and about food in general. So this is their new segment at first, and then we'll go into a deep dive as to what you guys got going on. So give me a quick overview of who Chef Kelly is and what you're all about.
Cool. I am Chef Kelly. I am a 15-year veteran of the food industry, big food to be exact. I spent the last 15 years with Nestle, Disney, and U.S. Foods as a corporate chef. So not like The Bear and some of those other chef shows you see, but definitely more the boardroom and more the R&D. I left in 2023 to pursue what was happening in the world of AI. I found a lot of interesting sustainability aspects of it. And subsequently, I kind of became a food additive activist advocate, like for cleaner labels.
Okay.
And so I'm working on some cool stuff right now that I'll share with you a little bit later.
Okay. So your main focus, though, all of your life is being R&D. So you're the person that kind of thinks of the big picture of things, right? So you're thinking about, what can we do to shift the company to be more sustainable? Maybe even making sure the resources are used properly and things like that too, right?
Yeah, we deal with a lot of the consumer packaged goods. So I joke that, one of my only flexes is that I could throw a penny in a grocery store and I'd hit a box that I either worked for that company, I worked for the company that worked for that company, or private labeled for that company, or maybe my recipe's on the back of it. I don't know. It's just, it's the back end, it's the B2B side of things. And, as I said to you earlier, working in R&D, we worked alongside a lot of food scientists, but we never really got to see exactly what kind of additives were being put in after we had bench tested our recipes and got the flavors right, what kind of preservatives and other things were put in there. So when I got the opportunity to sort of research deeper and wider with AI, I found out that there was just a lot of bad stuff that I'd kind of been culpable for all these years.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I've been trying to kind of right some wrongs and create a better legacy for myself.
That's very interesting because I think as a type 2 diabetic, I certainly have had an adversarial relationship with advertising, with kind of, it took me a long time to even figure out that the inside of the grocery store was where all the additives and preservatives were, and the outside was the Whole Foods. And I guess even the whole word Whole Foods came from not having additives, preservatives, and all the other stuff right? How did we get here? How did we get, is it commerce? Is it efficiency? I know adding sugar and salt makes it last longer so you can ship it across the world. And the whole McDonald's thing and Super Size Me was a whole thing. And sugar industry, just like tobacco, at first, they actually had scientists appear before Congress said, sugar's good for you, no problem. And so how did we get here? We got Monsanto and everything else. And
Yeah. So this is something I thought was just kind of conspiracy, but I actually looked it up and it's true. In the early 90s, when Philip Morris realized that their time was kind of up, that they had been caught lying to the American public, that tobacco wasn't good for you, that they had been kind of poisoning us, putting all these chemicals in it. So they split up and separately bought up a lot of the food industry. They bought up Kraft Heinz and Nabisco and even parts of General Mills. And they put those same scientists that were putting the chemicals that made tobacco addictive in our food. So as a kid of the 90s, that's all I knew. I knew brightly colorful food, ultra flavorful food, packaging that made you just, oh, please, mommy, please, 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 And that's what we grew up with, and we became so conditioned to that salt and fat and sugar flavor that has now left all of us, most of America, chronically ill.
Oh yeah, I was 65 pounds heavier. Along comes Monjuro and Ozempic, and that's kind of worked for me. And I'm a little bit more, less of me, which is good, healthier for sure.
Hey, whatever.
I did my master's thesis, and part of my research was Rolling Stone had done an article about Philip Morris, who hired these 14 people to testify in Congress about tobacco, made the exact same statement in front of Congress that created the food pyramid. Guess who benefits from beef being at the top of that puppy, right? And then you have Miss Obama, right? Michelle Obama creating the plate or the circle, right? And started to really think what is healthy. So this disinformation campaign that was engineered, one of my other favorite stories was the potato chips, like the different potato chips were actually engineered to trigger all these dopamine, so all these reflexes in us. And then current research about the connection between your gut biome, like it's actually 85% on your vagus nerve is going from your gut, communicating up to your brain and telling it what to do. And that happens to go back to your primordial, the way that every organism is formed is a belly first and a brain second. And we don't realize that if we can be engineered to believe that this tastes, like you said, sugar, fat, etc., is that magic sauce. So for so long, we've been trying to do things that are not health related, Monsanto. Anyway, before we get too far down that thing, why don't you introduce our guest with us here today and kind of talk about what you guys are in the process of doing right now about this shift?
This is my lovely colleague, Jasper Dayton. She is an AI whiz and a marvelous marketer. And I've just created a platform actually called Dye Converter that will help small to mid-sized food brands actually switch from synthetic dyes to natural dyes, because there's a 2027 deadline on that. And so Jasper's been helping me get that to launch ready and helping me figure out what our marketing plan is after that. But we met in one of our AI communities, and she is like a whiz. She's fantastic. So everybody, Jasper Dayton.
Well, if I want to add, can I just say, first of all, that commercial for Runway is exactly what my day looks like, and how I create these realities for people like Chef Kelly, where their dream is stuck in their head. It was stuck. It was not coming out until she saw what was possible. And I was able to show what's possible in 30 seconds rather than 3 weeks because of AI. And what's wonderful about AI is that we can get it to market so much faster so that people aren't missing out. So people aren't dying because of this lack of nutrition or all these chemicals that they're putting in. And we can then start actually making money as a business. Because what I've found is that the dream's stuck in their head. They can't hold it in their hand. And then they go into this sales resistance where they don't want to sell it because it doesn't look right, or it doesn't sound right, or they're going to be judged, or whatever their story is in their head. So now we can make it look amazing and make it ready to be sold even before the product even exists. And you can have the investors on board, and you can actually make the money to make it actually work.
I'm super excited that you just said that, because that's exactly what AITV is about. Because we just talked about the disinformation campaign, the power being in the corporations to make more money. So what are they going to do? They're going to use marketing and branding and everything. So Jasper, you're a marketing person. Have you done that all your life? And what's
it's turned into that. Thank God for AI. But it's been that way all my life. I've been running my business for 30 years. And they actually have you wear all these hats because you know how to create. You're a creator. And because you're a creator, it means you also must know how to sell it. And you also know how to do this and that. It's like, sure. As long as you can create the sale and not annoy the person that wants to buy from you. Yes, we can get the buyers to show up. But if you slam the door in their face because you don't know how to sell, there's not much else we can do.
Right.
So.
Well, there's, being a 25-year educator in graphic design, coming from the Miami Herald, I went in with my Macintosh Plus and plugged it in and paginated the whole front page of the Miami Herald in one piece. Now, when I started working at Broward College in 2000, everybody graduated and got a publishing job in print. Zero anymore, zero. And I introduced for the first time in the United States a digital photography program to graphic design. So graphic designers started going from doing paste up and rub on letter forms to coding things to make a page design to now having every responsibility. In fact, you do SEO, you do marketing and advertising, social media management is a course I'm teaching now. So it's democratized all these tools have democratized the ability so the individual has the power, and we can get a scientist in our pocket to prove that this is horribly wrong for you. And that's where I want to make the pivot into a couple of slides and some big stories that I want to talk about that speak to this idea. That right now AI is this pivotal point. Instead of those scientists that said tobacco's good for you and sugar's good for you being driven by almighty dollar, now we have people like Chef Kelly getting a marketing expert like yourself, and now you're empowered with the skill set to make a positive change. And the whole zeitgeist of the show is exactly that. We're moving from a place where Taylor Swift is the economy, and she drags with her $4 billion trail behind her that people get paid. When she moves into a city and does a concert, the housing pricing goes up because of the economic impact of her presence. Wow. So that's the opposite of what Prince did. And this is what we talked about last episode. We talked about copyright and ownership. So what if we look at AI as an opportunity to democratize not only the tools, but the ability to understand why we need to think different? So my whole thing is think different and think in terms of what do we do to honor each other? How do we take responsibility for the food you put in someone's belly? You know, so Kelly, you talked about the idea of, you know, sort of having to a little bit rewrite your history as yourself because you feel a little tainted from.
I think, well, it's, let me, to be clear, like in 2016 is when I started at Disney, and it wasn't Disneyland, it was Disney Studios in Burbank, right? And Disney was the first company I had ever worked for that was really gung-ho about sustainability. We as chefs had dashboards and metrics that we had to meet. We were from scratch, zero waste kitchens. We had to buy gestation-free pork. We could only buy fish that was pole caught no more than 150 miles off the shore. Lots and lots and lots of metrics. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Great. Yeah, you know, it's good on you, Disney. Well, number one, the reason why they had to do it was because Disney's carbon footprint is huge. You know, if you think about all the cruise ships and the resorts and everything, right? But I was like, that's great. But I was sort of with the masses. It's like, well, it's not going to do much. It's not going to do, right? And then when AI came along, I was like, it kind of dawned on me that there was this real opportunity to sort of actually make a real difference with, you know, irrigation techniques and drone seeding and really being able to make maximum yields out of crops. So many things that are available to our farmers now because of AI. But the real magic comes when we all sort of now have the opportunity to engage with one another. And no longer does Big Food have that sort of hidden secrecy behind the curtain anymore. And I thought, between the idea that we can move forward with this wonderful, sustainability opportunity, and now that we have these clean ingredients available to us, I think the world should kind of know that there's a better way. And I'm not asking anybody to go on a new diet or not buy this or boycott that. I'm asking Big Food to clean up the mess that they made. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of accountability, isn't it? Because we didn't know what we didn't know. And if we're being told by scientists that cigarette smoke is good for you, I mean, just watch an episode of Mad Men and you got a pregnant woman smoking with a doctor while she's 9 months.
Highball, whiskey.
Right? Highball whiskey in her hand, right? And because we didn't know better, and then we kind of got sucked in and we got supersized, we had that kind of happen. But now the transparency happens when I can do research in 5 seconds and tell you what's in this product. So I did this with my medication. I photographed all the medication and all the supplements I was taking. And it said all those supplements are redundant. In fact, 4 of them will make you really sick if you take them together. And so my
You're
daughter
not
gave
the
me
only
some
one I've heard
mushroom.
say that. I've heard so
Right?
many people tell me that they found out about drug interactions through AI. Yes.
Yeah. And so if the privilege is on us to have agency over our own determination, and then we start thinking about, well, what can we do in our professions, in marketing, in food? What can we do about our professions to change it and to raise the Wizard of Oz, drapery and reveal what's, how the sausage is made, quite literally, in a scary way.
Well, the thing that I love what Chef Kelly's doing is she's empowering the companies to, like she said, clean up the mess, but she's empowering the consumer, which really is the thing that, controls the companies. Right. Because like yourself, I've lost 40 pounds just because I asked AI, what should I be eating because of who I am? And it gave me my recipe. It even gave me what to go buy at the grocery store and what to do. And so, which we used to hire and spend thousands to hire somebody to figure it out for us.
Yeah, I'm using the Comet browser from Perplexity right now, and it actually orders for me. So it's an agent. It's a Chrome browser from Perplexity. You got to try it out. It's now openly available for everybody. It's going to be an app on your phone very soon. So it's the old Chrome browser that you've been using forever, right? Created by Google, but they put AI on the side. So literally, I'll show you in a little bit just how that works. But like, I can go watch. In fact, today, when you were asking me questions about the slides I was showing, I said, tell me about this YouTube video. It read the entire transcript of the YouTube video and then spat out exactly what I want to know. And then it went searching for 500 different ones and then amalgamate. Anyway, that's a long story, but we're getting.
And I want to add, it's not taking jobs away from people. It's adding and empowering us to do our jobs even better and make us.
So here's a question for you, because I know what my answer is. Has your day gotten shorter or longer? And is the longer because you're so excited about what's next? And, you're like, oh my God, Sora 2 come out. What can I do today? So you're up to 4 o'clock in the morning to figure it out, right?
So it's gotten longer.
I see your reaction. I know that
it's gotten longer, but more joyful. And because it's become, I'm not spending all this time doing things that don't matter. I'm doing the things that matter. And I'm able to do more of them. That's the part that's just exciting.
I have never worked so hard in my life, but it's because I'm making things. Because I'm creating something that I'm really passionate about and that I really want to succeed. And it's like, oh, so I'm going on fumes. I've had 4 hours sleep for the fourth time this week. Okay, it's all for the greater good. You just keep checking ahead, and
so
I love it.
What's your big picture goal? So are you working to empower individuals with your products, or is it more about?
I think that's a really good question for Jasper too, because I think it's twofold. I think that there's an opportunity here to talk to the small and mid-sized brands that maybe couldn't afford to get into the clean label game before this, and an opportunity to talk to the larger brands who didn't want to get into the clean label game before this.
Yeah, so give us a little education. So you just used a really cool word, clean label game. So what are the key words that we need to know about in this space that can educate us?
I wouldn't even bother with the words organic. That's not what clean label means. So people don't have to be like, oh, I have to show everything organic. No, what we're really looking for is trying to get rid of those artificial dyes. A lot of people don't even know that they're petroleum based, that they've been linked to a lot of bad things and studies that I won't mention here for risk of being sued. But the truth is they're really bad. And also they do cause a lot of hyperactivity in adults and children, and mood swings. I mean, you wonder why when you eat something that's high in high fructose corn syrup and has artificial colors, you're on a high for 20, 30 minutes and then you crash so low. And I think that if we just start to move these chemicals out of our food slowly and start to replace them with more cleaner, natural components, which is so weird because that's all we were doing in the 80s was getting rid of anything that had cholesterol or fat or anything in it or sugar and replacing it with sugar additives and salt substitutes. And now we find out 40 years later, 30 years later, that the chemicals are terrible for us. So with that said, just the movement towards cleaner labels and also the education to the consumers. I have so many friends who tell me I don't even know. They're embarrassed. They're like, I don't even know what my ingredient label says, Kelly. I don't know what it means. And I'm like, I don't either. But I just know how to ask the right questions because I've been in the industry for so long. So I think educating them on what the label says, what it means, and why we should.
It's so confusing. I mean, there was a long time where,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a long time where breastfeeding was a bad thing, you know, and then breast milk was bad, and then cow milk was bad, and then, you know, it's like, holy cow. It's
and
so
then pasteurized versus unpasteurized is wrong. Like,
right. And you get conflicting conspiracy theories and sort of misinformation. And I wonder sometimes, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you don't really have to be to know that you're hearing such conflicts. In fact, one of the most craziest things I heard recently is I was listening to 7 doctors who are the tops in their field in the gut. And they were saying the understanding of the gut biome and the billions of different organisms that live there, and that biologically, the stomach is born first and then the brain follows. So trusting your gut instinct, you know, we say that all the time, is a literal thing. So the Monjuro that I'm using is actually making me have the same normalized reaction to food. I can't finish a meal because it literally sending a chemical signal up and saying, I'm full. And it's doing that in a couple of ways. One of the things it did that didn't work out so well is it sort of compacted and made me constipated. And like I was kind of telling you on the phone, I ended up.
No, what drug was this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What you said was
Monjuro. One of the you know, the like Ozempic and all the rest of those. You know, for diabetic, that's, you know, required kind of. It's the only way I'm going to get to where I am right today, honestly. But then the side effect was that it caused constipation to such extreme that created methane and ammonia that shut my brain down. And then the doctors didn't even know that. So anyway, to get back to these 7 doctors that were on this, and I have to find that YouTube video, they were talking, they said, how much do you know about this? And what have you learned in the last 6 months? They said that they really still only know 30% of what they need to know. Like they don't even understand, the top scientists in gut health, right? And in the last 6 months, they learned half of that because of these new innovations in studying how our systems work. And the idea, so our show kind of thing goes by the Iroquois Nation Confederacy, that we are born of responsibilities. And number 2, we think 7 generations ahead to plan for, and we are born in service to our community. So what you're doing is in service to the community of humanity.
Right.
And what you're doing is helping think in terms of 7 generations in the future. We want to live longer. We want to be healthier. We want to get rid of disease. And we're using AI in a positive way. And that's what the show is all about. So you perfectly align with it. And that's why I'm so happy to have you on here. Because it literally is an educational process and a re-educational process but now we have the agency. If you're curious, I think the number one thing is adaptability and curiosity. So what tools are you using? Let's start with you, Jasper, for marketing and for kind of helping this process along for you as a professional. And then how do you amplify Chef Kelly's message to the public?
Well, I love that question. And she asked me that question today, and I had to think. I was like, I use at least 20 tools throughout the entire day. And so and there's a new one that pops up every day. But the core tools are, I mean, the core tools, I mean, chat is like, if for the normal consumer using Chat GPT, you could just, there's so much you can do with that, but then even customizing it and creating your own Chat GPT that has your brain is even better. But I mean, what I use, I start with Photoshop, obviously, because that's my core program. But then now with all the things that are integrated into Photoshop, oh my!
Now you have Banana in Photoshop as a plugin.
Oh my God! I created a full 2-minute video of me walking on a tightrope in heels and communicating to my target audience. I mean, I was doing things that you can't do. And I did it in a matter of 6 hours, which normally, with the video that I created, which normally would take 6 months to a year to produce it and to have the script. So everything was done immediately. And that's the part that just blows my mind. But there's Nano Banana, there's Kriya, there's, There's so many.
This whole show, in fact, tonight we're doing a deep dive on FireFly boards, so you're going to want to stick around for that. Here's a quick plug. So far we have created a deep dive on ChatGPT. It's 30 minutes long, 39 minutes long. Find it on Rick McCauley YouTube channel right now. So just spell my name right, and it's right there, folks, for you watching from home right now. Just go to the YouTube channel and take a look for that. So it has attached notes, which is literally everything you need to know about ChatGPT, how to create folders or project folders. Yes. So if you're doing Chef Kelly as a client, you create a folder, you put everything in there. You can load up 200 megabytes worth of data that she's created, her whole persona group, her message, her screen, her brand identity, etc. And then when you're asking questions, you get it based upon that. Then you can create GPTs if you want to test out some recipes. How healthy is this? Tell me where the problems are in this particular thing. Or photograph food. I'd love to have maybe Chef Kelly, you might design a few GPTs that can serve the public that you post on the site. So they can take pictures of their food and it can analyze it, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute. Yeah. So Chef Kelly, how are you using it to amplify what you do and what you've been doing?
Well, what I've been working on for the past 3 months has been the platform. And so it's a dual human research and AI research for all of the natural dyes that are replacing the synthetic ones. And so we've just been scouring the corners of the internet, pulling from the FDA websites, the World Health Organization websites, yada, 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 compiling it all.
Can you help the layperson for a second? Because you keep mentioning the dyes. Is this like red dye number 9 or whatever it is?
Red number 3, red number 40, yellow number 5 and 6. They're basically in every.
So the whole thing for dyes is to make the food look good?
Yeah. So they are, first and foremost, they are petroleum based. So they're literally made in the same silos and vats that our gasoline is made out of. And it's a byproduct of that. And they figured out in the 60s that using some sort of light refraction, yada, 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 it's very technical. I don't quite understand it. You could get really, really bright concentrated colors out of it that you would just need just a few little drops within your 100-gallon batch of ice cream or bakery products, whatever, that would go a long way. And I won't get into it here because I think but we could have a whole other show about the FDA's lack of oversight
for the layperson that wants to.
Right.
So why should we care as a layperson about these dyes? Because they're poisoning us?
Well, most of them, if not all of them, have over time been linked to chronic illnesses and ADHD, mood swings, sometimes cancer.
Okay,
some of them are labeled
Tylenol that's the problem with ADHD. Just to get that clear for the non-presidential people out there that that's not the cause. There's many environmental.
Oh no. It's not the cause. There's no causation, but there is linked to symptoms that might be exacerbated by synthetic colors.
Oh, certainly.
Yes.
And life in general causes some of the ADHD. I mean, like we're just talking, I can't keep my head straight as to what's coming next and what to do about it.
Right.
So why did you pick that particular niche, or are there other niches that you're interested in the whole food thing? So are you concerned about waste, and are you concerned about what are the big issues that you particularly want to pick up your evaluate?
One hand washes the other. The fact that there's so much toxic runoff from the way that these synthetic dyes are made, just getting rid of them in general will
whole environment. Yeah.
Same with high fructose corn syrup. It's a synthetic process. It's an ultra process, which is also not good for the environment.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's taking the worst offenders, the lowest hanging fruit that people already know about and already are trying to weed out on their own. And sort of just putting the pressure where the pressure needs to be put and saying it's now or never, guys. Like, I think Jasper and I were just talking about this as we were ideating earlier. I think brands need to understand that customer loyalty comes with transparency and truth in labeling.
Yes.
And the more they dig their heels in and try to shell game us and sleight of hand, they're going to keep wondering why their profits are dropping. And I think if they can get ahead of this, they can really have some longevity in the consumer loyalty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. None of us want all of us love our, our diet sodas and our other stupid things that we kind of get addicted to, because and honestly, caffeine's the number one drug in the world. And National Geographic did a whole special. It's more addictive than cocaine or heroin. And there's a reason for it, which is okay, which it picks you up in the morning. It changes your, gives you a little boost every once in a while. But that has long-term consequences, which I am an absolute participant and victim. And even knowing what I know about it, I'm still drinking right now. I've got one right here.
Yeah,
Like,
I am no saint. I am no saint. I'm not sitting here like clean label poster child. I think it's a quality choice that our big food manufacturers be making.
Well, and the vision that I've been able to help with Chef Kelly is her app, her dye converter that she is putting out there, that she's been able to develop very quickly, because of AI and because of her expertise when it comes to food dyes and all that other stuff. She's going to make it so that not only does the food manufacturer able to figure this out without having to spend a huge amount of money and then raise consumer prices, but she's also going to have another market segment where she can have the consumer be educated, because the consumer doesn't have time. They don't have time to figure this out. They're just trying to make a meal that they actually can eat.
Gotcha.
And if they can save them the time so that they can make good choices that fit their lifestyle, that's phenomenal.
And let's be honest, dog whistling all day long isn't going to put enough pressure on any of these companies. But people who say, I'm not going to spend my money on your brand anymore, will.
Ooh, that's it. Yeah. Vote with your pocketbook, right? And an informed customer puts pressure on them to be more transparent. And when they do, we should celebrate them. So who's your favorite brands out there these days? Who do you celebrate? I mean, do you like Whole Foods? Do you like Whole
Foods is owned by Bezos now, so I don't really know how I can answer that question.
Yeah.
Yesterday was actually
when Murdoch bought the Wall Street Journal. That was kind of the same thing for journalists. They kind of say, "Oh, really? Oh, ouch!"
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm really happy to see that a lot of brands have decided to go dye-free by 2027, which is what the administration put as the deadline. There's one. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but yesterday was actually National Chewing Gum Day or something like that, and on LinkedIn I did this whole article about like how it's made out of PVA rubber and all these synthetic dyes and sweeteners and everything like that. And there's 3 or 4 really nice natural gums on the market now that's actually made from real tree sap and actually has real spearmint or peppermint flavor. And I think that's wonderful because, I mean, that is like, think about your checkout line. And you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna grab a pack of gum. And it is like it's like a glob of toxic waste in your mouth. So I think that it's
okay.
Just
you're kind
really...
of scaring me right now because I do chew gum. Of course, I do Skittles too. So
the more you know, right?
Yeah. My favorite thing of all time was Doritos. I bought some Doritos out of a vending machine. On the back it said, "May cause anal leakage," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" They actually put it on there, and I took a picture of it. I'm like, no one's going to believe this, that they actually put the label on there, and then you're still going to eat it. And I finished the entire pack, and luckily there was no side effects, I guess.
Let me say something about Doritos while you're on that. So I have a friend who is in upper north state of Washington State and is going to go back to Vancouver soon, where she was born. She wants to go back and live there. And we were having a conversation, and she said, you know what's really hot up here right now, like all the rage? Natural Doritos. And I was like, I felt like I've been like kicked in the stomach because like we know that a lot of these additives that we have in our food have been banned in Canada and the UK for years. And they're right there. Natural Doritos like are being manufactured and sold to Canadians, but they won't do it for us. And it just, it pains me when I hear stuff like that. It kills me.
Yeah, even like natural sugar now from Mexico in Coca-Cola, that's, a thing. And so it's kind of weird how we're finding it out. And every other country in the world seems to have the greed is not the thing that drives the market. And we unfortunately are right in the middle of it's an extraction economy, period, end story. I mean, it certainly privileges the bottom line. And that's why we have the wealthiest people and the poorest people. And did you know that our happiness index, we're now number 25 in the world? We were number 12 or 13, and this is just the last 6 months. So
are we talking countries?
Huh?
Talking countries, 25 out of what? 179
there's
countries.
24 happier countries in the world than us, and one of them I think was Mexico. It's like, seriously, when you're below Mexico, I'm sorry. I mean, it's a great place. I've been there a few times. It's
Do you
nice
know that
to
we import
I'm
more
sorry?
organic fruits and vegetables from Mexico than we grow here in our own land?
Yeah, and it's about to soon to be even more because so what happens when all the immigrants get sent away? Who's going to do that job? Are drones taking over fast enough for that to be automated with food production?
Listen, the drones aren't going to be able to do the hand picking of like your fruit orchards, your grapes, like for wineries and things like that.
Oh, I did see a drone that did apples from trees. That did a pretty
really
decent job.
Fast? Really?
Yeah, like faster than any human could do it. Well, you know, they have also they have the tree shakers. So they have tree shakers that'll knock them out, and then you have a net that goes underneath the apple orchard tree kind of thing. So I'm sure they're coming up with ways. And the other one that I saw that was kind of cool is as they till the soil, they have laser that looks at any aphids or any kind of things on the plant and laser zaps them out. As it's tilling the soil. I mean, that's crazy. So forget about pesticides. That's awesome, right? So all these little tiny things. So what do you say we take a look at a couple of pictures and news stories, and we'll talk about that, and love to get your reaction. Brandon, do I need to do anything other than share my screen here? Is he still there with us?
Did we just blather for like an entire hour?
I know, right? I want to. I'm ready.
I'm just getting started.
let me. Oh, I am screen sharing. I think I just need to put that over there. Okay, there we go. I'm already screen sharing. So there we go. Can you see the AI sees nutrients? So this is an image created with ChatGPT, and then I went over to Ideogram to execute it. But basically, AI can actually look at, by just photographing your food, tell you what you can see. It's horrible there, but vitamin C, antioxidants, and what's in it. Like, so this is crazy, right? How is that possible?
Well, I mean, it's basically just taking a picture of your food. It's scanning your food. So if it goes, oh, that's an apple, it's going to know there's lycopene or, you know, whatever else is inside.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
no, I think this is the story. If you
I mean, tell me if there's something I'm missing here.
Yeah, the in the Word document that I sent you, there's even more detailed. It can tell you if it's, you know, how much longer it needs to ripen for a banana before you eat it. I mean, it's calculating these things. So MyFitnessPal had a thing for a while that you just photograph your food, and then it breaks down what the nutrients are, and then when you exercise, it balances your intake with your outtake, and it kind of calculates stuff. Now imagine that you've got MyFitnessPal, you're photographing all your food, so you don't have to sit there and say, I had 2 bananas, I had 1 banana, I had a half a banana, or I had meat, or I had this. It actually, you photograph your food, and then if you tell it where you're at, it will really calculate it. So if you're eating at, some Pizza Hut or something, right?
Yeah.
It'll tell you exactly what's in that particular thing that's from the menu because it has all its database. So
that's fantastic.
That's what AI is doing, is that it's aggregating all this information so you don't have to. And then if you got an app that speaks to, and my big thing is Life Force, it's an app that basically is a large language model put on your local device, just like Alexa, that you fed it every single one of your dental records and your entire DNA from 23andMe, and then imagine that everything you eat and comes into your food all gets aggregated in one place, and then you just say, "Hey Alexa, you know, tell me why my stomach's hurting," and it'll tell you exactly why, or what should I eat now? You know, how much more exercise am I going to do?
DNA and all that stuff. Wow.
Well, I have to add to that because I used an app that was very similar to that, and I'm from Wisconsin, and so we eat cheese curds. And so I had it scan the cheese curd, and it said, "Do not eat that." And it told me why. And I was like, oh, so that was my first step in the losing of the 40 pounds, was that eye opener of what exactly I was putting into my body.
Yeah.
Even though we're set, they market cheese curds and beer and all that around here, like, yeah, go for it. But no.
Yeah. And, you know, usually I'm trying to eat foods that are, what's the word for it? Helps your digestion or whatever by, what am I thinking of? But anyway, so I was eating food that was expanding my stomach. And of course, when you have severe diarrhea, that's the worst thing you could do. And so,
probiotics?
No, well, the probiotics also added to it. So that was a bad thing as well. But it was, bulk of fiber. I'm sorry, fiber. So I was doing high fiber, and high fiber just made it expand and then started making it gas off. So I was eating high fiber foods and lettuce and stuff like that, and it was all fermenting in my belly. And I had no idea, and I was thinking, oh, that's good for me. And then I said, no. And then my daughter, who's really super healthy and thinks about this all the time, she started getting me these supplements. Well, it turned out that I had cramps in my legs, so I had magnesium, I guess. And then it turns out that my daily pill was enough, and then too much magnesium caused another problem. So literally, I took everything that I ever tried and I put it out there, and I said, tell me what I should get rid of, what I should add. And I got down to like just 3 supplements a day, your basic, everyday pill for everything. But it's sort of interesting what you don't realize, like you just said, right? It's that you didn't realize these cheese curds were, could be a problem, especially with other
I have
foods.
to add, those cheese curds were fried cheese curds. They weren't just cheese.
Right.
It was like a double whammy, so with a beer on top of that,
So the second story is that you can load your DNA and then have a dietary program custom designed for you.
Yes.
There's an app for that now. How cool. So how does this work, Chef Kelly? What's the science behind knowing what your DNA is and whether you should do a Mediterranean diet or a pescatarian diet or that kind of thing? Is that
I know how they get the DNA, but it probably has something to do with I've been looking into sort of inflammation diets for a while, and almost every single, and I don't even like the D word at all, but most nutritional programs point to either high protein or lots of vegetables and fish, like a Mediterranean diet. And there isn't it called like the blue? There's something in Italy, or there's like a village is like called the Blue Village or something, where they're like the longest living people on the planet, and they're the healthiest too.
It's Italy and Japan, and there's 3 factors that do it: food and diet, and also the amount of time that people stay resident and their lifestyle. So in Italy, it's a slow lifestyle. It's a very human lifestyle. You have lots of friends. In Japan, people, as they get older, are thrown parades for them. So it's both psychological, sociological, and then it is DNA. So here's my little DNA thing that I found out. So I have visceral fat. So I've got all my fat packed around my lungs and everything. Why? Because it turns out that not only was I Irish and Scottish for a while, but I go back to Sweden. So my ancestors were packing on the pounds because they had to. It was cold as can be up there, right?
Yeah.
So we eat a lot of meat. So we'll go out and kill a caribou and do this kind of stuff. So now I'm in South Florida where it's 100 degrees in the summertime. And I literally have gone every single summer to get the heck out of town. I went up to Canada one year, though. We did a home exchange in Canada, and it was 102 degrees. It was the hottest temperature ever in Toronto or wherever we were, right? Yeah. And, every time I seem to go. So I started going to Iceland because I'm guaranteed it's going to be about 32 degrees there. So, and then I go there and end up losing weight. And then I eat food that's really, in that Mediterranean. And for me, it's a lot of protein. That's kind of working for me. And I got to work out with some weights. That's the way that I've got to get the bulk of my, as I get older, my weight. I used to lift weights all the time and stuff, but it's sort of interesting that now if you can understand your DNA, you're kind of seeing where your ancestors came from and how, because we don't evolve as an organism as quickly as we do as a society or food.
Correct.
So really the reason why we didn't adapt to eating McDonald's all the time is because our organism is built to hunt and gather and wait for a week before you get your next meal and then 100%. Be grazing in the meantime. So you're eating the fruits and leaves and all this kind of stuff. And then you get one big meal.
Slower burning sugars and slower burning carbs and grains. Yep.
There you go. So if you pack it into high fructose corn syrup, you supersize me in an instant. I mean, it was predictable, but we didn't know what we didn't know. That got to kind of get into the thing, right? So then this one's sort of interesting. So, and we'll see an animation of this in a minute, but
that's a big sushi. Look how big.
I know, right? I want to eat at this place. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with those pastries over there and the spaghetti and meatballs I kind of get. So it's one robot, all cuisines. So they trained robots. So what's going on in the world today, and in fact, Anthropic and a couple other companies are actually paying doctors, lawyers, and all kinds of professions to actually go do what they do for a living, paying them like $10,000 for a day, basically to show their process. And they're creating agents that do the jobs.
Yeah.
So literally, instead of, so if you're a lawyer, you're doing a case, they're studying how you do it. Now, the way robots in Amazon. So Amazon just put in 1 million robots that replaced 10 million human beings. You know how they trained the robots? They watched videos of humans doing the job that they went into that same factory and did.
Yeah.
So they basically have the layout of the factory, and they do this video game kind of scenario. What happens if this falls? What happens if this gets wet, etc.? And then they watched human videos over and over again and saw the patterns of behavior and looked for efficiencies. Then they just basically plug in a module for this factory. You're the robot that does this, all the way around. You plug yourself in at night, you're 24/7. It's like, oh, man. But now they're doing it with doctors. Now they're doing it with lawyers. Now they're doing it with nurses. And now they're doing it with graphic designers, marketing people. In fact, Adobe has a product. If you haven't seen it before, it's called Gen Studio. It literally will take a Coca-Cola size social media marketing campaign with billions of assets that have to go distribute. So they basically did this in 8 hours. They took a new product from Coca-Cola, made up one for fun. They fed it through the system. It made audio, video, translated into 47 different languages, put kind of all kinds of guardrails. So when it's played out in China, so they loaded up all the experience of every single social media marketing campaign, every SEO that Coca-Cola had ever done in its history, look for the most successful. And they said, hit the 22 to 24-year-old target market in China. And it basically created this entire thing. It rolled out all the assets, all automated. And the only question they had was, they did side-by-side testing to see if humans would react. And one of the questions, they had a dog in the picture. Well, the dog that would go to England is a different dog that would play in the United States, is a different dog that would play in Japan. So they had human reviewers actually telling which one they wanted. So there's a human in the loop, but only for the human things the humans care about. That and my favorite thing that I tell my students is, do you remember the car, the Nova, N-O-V-A?
Yeah.
So in Spanish, so they tried to sell it in South America and they didn't sell anything. They're like, why not? Well, no va means no go. So they're trying to sell this no-go car, right? So an AI would get that messed up because they wouldn't realize that doesn't translate right. Or maybe it would get it right.
Well, here's the other thing regarding the AI and the robots, because I have a robot mower. I've got robots that do things for me.
Okay.
But,
how do you
but
like
I
that?
need to have somebody that knows how to fix it. So,
yes.
So now the jobs are either going to be the human beings fixing the robot, or we're going to have robots that fix the robots. So like for the agents, the AI agents, you can have another AI agent fix what the other AI agent screwed up too. So
yeah, but like I just got a Roomba myself, and I kind of figured out that you got to watch it a little bit because it gets caught on rugs and it maybe sucks up your diamond ring or something. So you got to watch it a little bit. You got to have a human.
You have to have a budget also to fix it when it breaks, when you aren't planning on it breaking.
Well, aren't they getting so cheap that you just get a new one? It kind of feels
true.
like
Yes.
in Japan for a long time, they made their refrigerators extremely expensive because they had to pay for the refrigerator repairman. And so literally they built that into the cost, even though the refrigerator repairman never had to come out. They actually built in the cost of it. In America, we responded with commercials that said you never need to have the refrigerator repairman. I don't know if you remember this. It was a commercial back in the 80s, and we're kind of getting further and further there. So this kind of scares me, but it also sort of, and where they're imagining this being used is in schools. So imagine instead of the lunch lady, you got little Johnny knows he has, a gluten intolerance or whatever. And custom-made meals can be made for them. So that's kind of on the cool side. And then, I don't know, I would miss, I don't miss being a fry cook at McDonald's.
See, a lot of these robots are meant to take away some of the liability that comes with more dangerous jobs like fry cooks and burger flipping and chopping and chopping and chopping. It's great and really cool. They're talking about Michelin star chefs. And, maybe it's because of the precision, but as Jasper duly noted, they're gonna break. They're gonna break, and when and what time, and are they near the water, and are they gonna spark, and
Yeah, that's actually kind of a decent job for people to do. I mean, it's at least a higher level job, and that's kind of the thing, is that you want it to amplify, not replace the good jobs. I mean, I don't know, are the people that work in the food industry, would you rather be a line cook and prep person, or would you rather someone else do it and then you take care of the human relationship with the people in the front, or other? Where would you want to be if you had a choice? Do you want a dishwashing machine to wash your dishes, or do you want some homeless guy to have that as a job, entry back into society?
Oh man, that's a really deep conversation. I think that there is nothing wrong with the thing is people throw around the word low skill or no skill, which I think is really insulting to human beings, to be honest with you. But when we're talking about lower skill, higher liability, there is a trade-off there where we're not concerned that you're going to burn yourself or cut yourself or injure yourself, slip and fall. And it's a skill that isn't super difficult to do. It's very repetitive, so on and so forth. And maybe that will free you up to do more things, like interact with the human beings or in the cash register. Or
that's a curious question. Is there repetitive action things in the food industry that are damaging to people long term?
Oh, absolutely. I know a lot of prep cooks who have carpal tunnel, for instance. I mean, I've got plenty of my burns from the commercial ovens, but the biggest injuries mostly are slip and falls in commercial kitchens. And a lot of,
if you had a Roomba there, it might take care of some of that. Maybe it runs out as soon as there's water spilled or something, or food.
Well, the other thing with the robot that does work out well, that I've seen here in a university town, is once they order the food, it gets delivered. And now the delivery person isn't in danger. It's delivered by a robot. And they aren't being confronted or hurt by people that, that type of thing.
Yeah. So in Miami, they have the robots just driving up and down the street and delivering food directly. Hotels, I just did a presentation to hotel companies, and they're having room service done that way. You don't have to worry about somebody molesting you when you go in there. You don't have to worry about, and it speaks your language. So for Chinese people, it was like, it could interact with them. And the smarter it gets, the more it could do. It's just self-cleaning toilets. There's so many little things that a human doesn't want to do. And then they said, well, what do we do and retrain these people that are, go clean the rooms and everything? Well, you have them be customer service, and they wear a device so they can understand. If they only speak Spanish and English, they can talk to the Chinese customer. And all of a sudden they can think about, hey, this customer's a repeat customer. It's their anniversary. Let's get them some Hamilton tickets. It was like, then they walk away with memories. And so I started off the speech and I thought it was pretty cool. And I had ChatGPT help me with this. You're in the memory business. What they don't want to have to remember is what the Wi-Fi password was at the hotel they stayed at. They want to feel the warm sun on their skin as their skin is now tanned. And they walk around with this memory because they got Hamilton tickets and they had champagne waiting for them. They want to have the memory not of you getting in the way and you having to be asked for the Wi-Fi password, but that's all done and they're customer first driven.
So we can enhance that experience with
so if I'm delivering the food, the most high paid people in the food industry are the chefs. The chef's probably the number one. Number two is those people that make an experience for their customer, a sommelier that sits there and talks about what their needs are, a chef that custom designs for them, a meal that's absolutely superb and fitting to what their likenesses are. So predictive analysis of what the customer wants. And imagine if you came into a restaurant and it says that, you just kind of put your code in and then it tells you what you're going to like on the menu. And it kind of lights up the things that you don't want. And I've been twice to the restaurant where my friend is super allergic to certain things in soups. And she asked like literally 20 times. And then she got the food and it had whatever it was in there that she couldn't eat in the soups. And we got up and left. I said, look, you just lied to us, and that's not right. Because she literally has an allergic reaction to this thing. And you said it was, I think maybe it was peanuts in the soup, something like that, right?
Oh, well, peanuts is not a living matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cross-contamination and food allergens are the biggest liability for the companies that, the restaurants and the dine brands and things like that.
Okay. So a lot of this stuff can be really used for a lot of good and not displacement, right? So here's one of the other things. So in France, every restaurant's required to take the night's leftover food and distribute it through the community, mostly to people that are food shy. You know, they don't have enough food. So the supply chain management for major restaurants, I mean, I can imagine Disney's has got to be an incredible, like you said, that you have to get your food actually locally sourced. And that's one of the big things, isn't it, in the food industry, is how do you get the food as local as possible?
Yeah, well, not only did we buy seasonally and locally, but we partnered with Chefs to End Hunger and also the LA Mission, so that they would actually come by all of our campuses at the end of the day and pick up the food that could be. I mean, there's certain things you just can't. It's been out too long, or it won't travel well. But anything that we could donate, absolutely, 100% we could.
Yeah, we had a thing at McDonald's, like the apple pies only lasted 20 minutes on the shelf, and then so every night we'd be eating them right before they went bad, you know. And we only had to show the casement for the apple pie, so that was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. And then we've got this, which is so they trained on Michelin star recipes, and now robotics are getting to the dexterity level that they can memorize all these recipes and then create them. I'm going to share this next one real quickly here.
Whoa!
Okay, so this is FireFly, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later when we get to our tool time part of the episode. But basically, so what do you think about this? So what happens when it can execute on any chef's greatest things and then copy everybody's chef? I mean, talking about artists being upset about stealing their work, what does that look like?
But can it out-execute the best chef? But can it really?
Well, according to, so they did a blind taste test, and they had 10 Michelin star chefs prepare the same meal, and they had their robot that had trained on them, actually.
Yeah, trained on them.
Videos, right? So I don't know. This part kind of freaks me out a little bit.
I think in the grand scheme of things, I think that I would go watch a robot chef give me a 5-star meal, 100%.
Right.
But like 2 or 3 times. And then it would be like, all right, been there, done that. I think that we're going to see in every genre, in every type of business and industry, a resurgence of, I want handmade. I want a story. I want another person behind it. You know, and I think that
wait, back up a minute, because you said the magic word, the story.
The story. People are going to
want the story of food. Tell me something eloquent about the story of food. Food isn't just something you ingest and poop out, right? It's a story. What is the story when you prepare a meal? So I'm assuming you probably have friends over and you're preparing a meal for them.
Yeah.
What's the story of that meal? Thanksgiving, for example. What's the story?
For me, I think that one of the reasons I became a chef was I felt like there was a lot of maternal instinct in cooking for people. And, it's like, manja, eat, sit down, let me take care of you, put your feet up. What can I get for you? and I think that's in a lot of food cultures. It's about family, it's about gathering, it's about tradition and culture. You have it at funerals, you have it at births, you have it at weddings and quinceaneras and bat mitzvahs. It's food. It bonds us all together. Everybody has to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we think about Thanksgiving, like you said, but mitzvahs and Thanksgiving, Christmas. I mean, deaths, wakes. Yeah, it's the shared communal story. In fact, probably the biggest thesis of this show also is that the difference between AI and everything that's human is the story. It's about the first kiss and the last goodbye. It's about the only human experience. So I had ChatGPT, I asked it, tell me about your first kiss. And it said, well, I've never kissed someone. Yeah. And I said, even take from all human readings that you ever read and make me something eloquent. and it fell completely short. And then I did this other one, and I wrote and I put in it. I wrote personally, handwritten, this whole thing about the difference between humans and AI was the blood, sweat, and tears. That's the phrase and so I went on for a while, and I got really wax poetic about it, and started thinking about this. And then when it rewrote it, I asked Claude to make it sound better. It took out blood, sweat, and tears. And I said, why in the hell did you take that out? That was the whole nexus point of the entire thing. And really what it ended up saying was it did not know what blood, sweat, and tears meant to us, right? Because it's not a language it speaks in. And then here's a really deeper dive. So when they train large language models, they train it on vertices off of different words. So if I said Frodo, right? You have the hero's journey. You can go over and look at Star Wars and look at the hero's journey there. So one word, and any word, it could be the ring, the one ring to rule them all, could be that point that explodes in every vertices of information into ways that the AI doesn't. So it's a next word prediction, or it's a hero's journey. If you said, here's the pattern of hero's journey. So if it trained on Joseph Campbell, it understands that every story in humanity pretty much is that story. Right. And you didn't know it, which is really cool. The Bible is a collection of thousands of people's writings. Many of it was written after death and an oral tradition passed down. But it's a how-to guide for how to be good and how to be bad and what happened if you're bad kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So
can I share something that you brought up that really sparked an idea? And
yes,
where my son, he was like 8, maybe 7. And we had Alexa, and I allowed him to play whatever music he wanted to play. And he actually started to have a really good conversation with Alexa. He had so many questions, and I was busy. So he would ask her anything until one day, because he developed, a good, trusting relationship with Alexa. And he asked her, Alexa, do you have a boyfriend? And she said, I am happily single. So you need to ask Alexa that. But with that being said, I gotta go pick up my son, so I'm gonna exit. But I love everything that you've shared, and everything is amazing.
That's perfect. What a beautiful story. I love that. Yeah.
Yes. But thank you,
Jasper and Chef Kelly. Thank you so much for sharing. It's been a fascinating conversation. I've been listening on in the background. And you're welcome back anytime.
It's been absolutely wonderful, ladies. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you. So insightful, so much fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and come back, and I'd love to hear more about what your next steps are going to be, and when you start to actually get these things launched, definitely come back and share with us your great success. And I wish great success to you, because you're doing really vital work. This is definitely what the world needs, and so bless you for that.
Yes.
Now I'm just hungry.
So much.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right.
Welcome to AI Tool Time. Welcome to AI Tool Time. Rick McCauley's here, your AI guide on the side, showing tools that'll make your imagination come alive. From perplexities, deep research to ChatGPT's like creating wonders with text prompts, bringing dreams to life. It's AI Tool Time. AI Tool Time. With the AI guide. Your guide to making magic come true. If you can dream it, just say it. 3 wishes from the tech genie, and watch what these tools can do. 30 minutes to master, tools to explore. Let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCauley, where your digital dreams come true.
All right. So now we've got it. If you could pull up my screen for just a second, I think we're ready to go into AI Tool Time with Rick, the AI guy. So tonight's episode is brought to you by Adobe FireFly. One more time, I know. It's like, holy cow, we did that already, right? So what's cool about this is, here we go. So we're going to go on into Adobe FireFly. So to show you how that little animation you just saw was made, you see in the top left-hand corner, the Adobe FireFly logo, and you see where we had perplexity. So I used Nana Banana. This is inside of FireFly. I'm doing this in their boards feature. So we're going to deep dive into the boards tonight. So that animation you're seeing on screen there prior to this was basically putting that there and then saying, put the logo for Adobe FireFly where Perplexity was exactly. Then I animated it with a frame with nothing in it. And I said, falling from the sky and dropping down. Rick looks up and he sees it fall down. And that's where you got the little animation that you saw just now. So going further into, so now everything that I created tonight, all those slides and the flaming flambe, that was all done in Adobe FireFly. So we're going to do a couple of things with Adobe FireFly, and this is what we're going to be taking a look at today. In the top left-hand corner, we start with exploding food. So you'll see me go make this robot, take it out, drop out the background. So Adobe FireFly is part of the, FireFly is literally the AI part of Adobe, right? It's the video. It's now the audio. It's the still picture generation. That's all FireFly. And now we've got boards, which just allow us to put really cool things together. So artboard number 2 here, number 5 is it's titled, is it has the ability to take a still picture and then make variations more like this, and it makes all these salads. And then to keep the style, it goes down and makes the color palette and creates something that's stylistically the same. And then if you say keep the subject, it then comes down here and makes all of these. So it has the ability to put all that together. And then you can see that you can use it as a whole storyboard to create an entire advertising campaign and to do some extraordinary things. So here's just a couple of pictures that I generated using just FireFly's capability. Then I'll use Nana Banana, which I'll take pictures together. And I'm going to show you this entire process today. This is going to be our tool time episode for the evening. This is one I thought was kind of cool. And if you take a look up here, it's this picture of a plate of exploding sushi. It's this guy that got knocked out of this picture down here with a samurai sushi show, right? And then it's mashed together with this dragon guy. And then you put it together and you get this. So you got the dragon roll here. You've got the exploding sushi here. And you got the guy with the tuna. Wow. Okay. And then you've got this when you animate it. And I gave it basically a before frame and an after frame, and it's off to the races. So now what's making this Nana Banana happen within Adobe? Because Adobe has opened up, just like they used to do plugins a long time ago, the ability to bring in third parties, APIs, they call it, right? So you bring in Nana Banana, you bring in Runway, you might be bringing in Veo and some other ones coming up very, very soon. It has some new features that I didn't talk about last time. These are called presets. That means that if you have a bunch of clothes, you see in the top mashup. So that's using Nana Banana. So you're taking this person wearing the pink outfit, putting the shoes and the glasses on. Boom, there you go. Logo maker. So these are styles where you basically load in a couple of elements and it changes the pose. It changes the things like this. Then you have the vary capability, which will allow to really quickly, and I'm going to demonstrate this for real, but you can see how quickly I took this one picture you see on the left, and I said, keep the subject. And then I said, keep the style. Then I said, keep the more like this. It makes 16 images completely FireFly, and you notice it adds the content credentials. Boy, I wish Facebook would require that so we know if we're seeing AI-generated images or not. I mean, this is spectacular if you're in advertising or marketing, but take a look at what you can do for iterating and ideating, which is something that I just couldn't even possibly go through all these possibilities. So these are just some of the different ones. Remove text, isometric 3D, candid, product photography, impasto painting. So these styles become like a real quick way to turn a photograph into a 3D illustration, turn that into video, turn it into a black and white photograph that's all messed up and turn it into a color photograph that's perfectly retouched and then animate it. Wow, what a thing we can do. Take a look at all of the models that are right here. VO2, VO3, preview and fast, Pika 2.2, Ray 2, Runway Gen 4 video. So it is a bit of an extra cost, but if you have the Pro Adobe Creative Cloud account, this becomes part of your free gift right built inside. And you can make quite a few. And in fact, it keeps track of your credits. and there's so many credits per month. You can always buy extra credits if you want to top it off and finish a job, for example. That's something that's been coming up recently a lot in questions. And then you can do something like this. So I started with the picture you see at the top left. I extracted the guy by removing the background. I then put in the salad bowl, mixed it up, and then I got the robot, and then I created an actual animation that you'll see right here. So there we go. That's the salad bowl from one picture, that guy from another picture. The guy on the right, the chef, is coming and getting him a spoon. Holy cow, isn't that cool, right? So there you go, one more time, because this is just too much fun. Then I had it darken up the background, and I actually did in painting because there was a bunch of distracting backgrounds to make it a clean frame. So you saw this last week if you watched our last episode, and this is what we were doing then. This is me taking my face and putting it all over the place and doing some really cool stuff. And then this is what I thought was kind of fun. So the top left picture is the original one. I said, make it with a dark gray background, and then change the picture to hang in there, baby. So it was a 1980s style graphic design production studio. In the bottom left is 1940s vintage graphic designer, what they did back in the day. And then I imagined what the future would look like. You can see the prompt right down there at the bottom. But it basically helped me make these iterations by just telling it what I wanted to do. So whatever you can imagine, you can create. Even this is my children's book called Imagine. I've made it so it turned it into the same story for an African-American family with a Labrador retriever. My goal is to actually make this story turn into what will be every ethnicity. In fact, you upload your pictures of your dog, your cat, or your iguana, whatever you got, and it will tell the same story of imagination. That's when we get to a world that I want to be a part of, because I want this not to be about my child, but about everybody's child. And so let me go on over to FireFly, and I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to first back out of the board. So here's the board as we're working in it. Let me back out just for a minute and introduce you to Adobe Express. So if you're doing all kinds of work, if you want to make a QR code, there's all of the social media sizing built in. This is an application. It's literally the Swiss Army knife of different tools that you can do. I come in here all the time to generate QR codes, and then I'll take that and put it on top of something else. So I've made things like this little advertisement, right? That's a combination of a QR code for a Zoom link for something I was doing. And there's a picture that I edited and animated. Then when I was doing it on the Zoom, here was the AI tool time. And there's the information about it. And this is all created in a layered document right here in this point. And then if I want to resize all of these, I can remake them. I can load up my media, and it has millions of pieces of photography, audio, photos that you can bring in for yourself. It has video capability, video editing capability. It has audio files that you can record your voice, and you can go through all kinds of things, charts and graphs that are built in, elements like all of these. So these are pre-rendered and content. Here's your brand identity kit. So I have my typefaces choices, which is Impact. So there's my brand kit right there. And you can see there's my color palette, my orange, my blue, my gray, my yellow, etc. Body copy, Rockwell, Nova, regular. And then all of my assets that I created in Illustrator and Photoshop all come together in one place. And I can bulk create, and I can animate this thing as well. Oh my goodness. I even did this little, here's an absolute killer, and you won't be able to hear it. And I don't want to for a couple of years. I did this in a year and a half ago, but I recreated the Mad Men episode, and I created talking people from the Mad Men show talking about a new product. And I was able to do all of that right here. And if I go back and take a look at all the documents that I have, there's just literally no limits to what I can do. And I've got all the assets I could ever want. So let me go back over to Adobe Express. And if you click in the Adobe Express icon, it'll bring up these capabilities. So I can go to Express. I can go to Photoshop, which is, by the way, available in a browser. So all your Photoshop and all your stuff right here and the web. That's cool. Lightroom the same way. And there are apps on your phone now. Holy cow. So let's take a look at FireFly. So what is FireFly? It's all the generative stuff. It is making images. And you could take a look at what you could do here. So it's text to image. It's generative fill. It's scene to image. So 3D objects. Look at this. Holy cow. Text effects, etc. And video. So now we can come in here and actually explore all of this. I can take a look at my files. So this is my generation history. These are all the things that you just saw that I've been generating for the last couple of days. Anytime I want to bring up one of my pieces, I can then take this, bring it in here, and turn this into a video right here. Or I can jump over to Photoshop on the web right here, download this image. And I can even go and re-render it again. So everything is at my fingertips. My gallery here is an entry into other people's work. So if you haven't seen this kind of stuff before, so that's in text to image. These are just images. Look how fantastic it is. Now, if that's not the coolest thing on earth, what is the ability in here to take a look at video. So let's take a look at what other people have done in the video field. And then you can take a look at what I've done and what other people, even translating the video. We can also take a look at the gallery of other people's work by the community. So this is people that are making videos and all kinds of stuff here. So here's a video. Let's watch that. And this is generated with inside. And this is for TikTok. And this is Chris Castanova's work, actually. There's Chris right there. So all of this is put together and generated right here in Adobe FireFly and using Adobe Express to actually put it on social media whenever you want. There's a golden alligator. How fabulous is that? Here is, so if you want to, you can actually copy the prompt right from here and generate your video on your own. I think I've run out of credits because I've gone a little bit crazy with this, but you can see that you can use these different techniques to zoom in and around, zoom out, move right, tilt down, etc. So we have video capabilities, including different styles that we can appropriate here. And my generative credits have gone out. I think I've used them all up, but I could add more credits. So this uses 100 credits to make this particular video. So I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm going to take you over to audio. Audio's new. There's a bunch of stuff, including the ability to take what is a video that you've made and generate audio to go with it. I'm not sure you're going to be able to hear this, but here it goes.
I'm sure that sounds great on your end, Rick, but unfortunately, we're not hearing it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what was going on there is you literally record yourself going moo, and it turns it into a real moo. So it's crazy. And not only audio that way and translations, so you can have it rewrite everything, knock out on video, knock out the background. So you can layer up layers of video and then generate the audio and then vector. This is literally a vector. So if you've used Illustrator before, you want a picture of a whale, just say, I want a picture of a whale, and it's vectorized. Then you can recolor it, restyle it, do all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to go on down a little bit further to look at the boards. And I think this is probably the coolest thing I have seen. I'm really excited about it. You saw what we did last week with the all the stuff there. I'm going to bring up right now. This is the board that I'm working on tonight. And I'm going to bring you into take a look at how I created what you saw earlier. Now, a couple of keyboard shortcuts for you. Command and Option on the Macintosh. And that would be Control and Option on the PC. And then you can click on the screen and press and hold the space bar to move around the objects in space. Now, each one of these are artboards. You create an artboard. In fact, let me move on up here into some empty space. So I'll make an artboard from scratch here for you. Let me zoom out. If you want to zoom out, Command Option, and then move your mouse cursor forward, and it will zoom out. So what I'm going to do is, artboards are really a good idea because they keep all your art together. And you create an artboard by just simply coming here. I'm going to go over here and create a new artboard. And it's just a space. You get to color it. Here's the color. I always pick a dark gray. That's kind of nice. And you can name the artboard. I'm going to call this sushi. Okay. And then all this moves at the same time. So if I were to bring this piece over here, and I'll put this on the sushi board, and I'm going to put this one over here. And I wanted to say, let's start with something really cool. So I'm going to move this over here and kind of make it a little bit bigger. Command Option, zooming in, and then the space bar to move it over so I can see it full screen. Everybody can see that really well. I'm going to click in the dark area, and I'm just going to expand this to the side here. So let's take a look. If we were to take this little guy here, and we were to hit Vary, I can say more like this. Yeah, let's do more like this. Let's do more like this. What did it just do? Oh my goodness, look at this. So I'm going to come make some space over here, and I'm going to click and let go, and watch this. It is now generating more like this, which means that it's going to make dragons for us. 16, by the way. Oh my goodness. Right? How cool is that? So individually, I can take these and make this really large and see what great detail it is. Each one of these I can then keep and I can file away. I can actually, let me get this in the way you can see it. I can download it right to my hard drive or export it as a PDF, PNG. PNG is the best because it's not compressed. There's no loss of quality in the process. So I'm going to download as a PNG. I'm going to export it so I can use it later. I can come up here and I can say edit, and let's generatively expand, or let's just knock out the background by coming over here and choosing one of these other things, like going over to Photoshop, copy it, cut, paste, duplicate, cut, all that stuff, right? And then I can convert it to an image to video, so I can have this turn into a video. And then I can come here and I can edit text right there. I can edit using Flux, Max, Gemini, Nano, Banana. I can edit with GPT image base. I can take this and knock out the background. Let's see how we do that. And I forget how to do that right now. But so this capability is just insane because it makes it possible for us to sit there and iterate and then end up with a collection of images that match what we want to do. Or if we want a variation off of this, we can quickly get it. So that's really amazing. If I want to take an image like this one, and again, I'm just going to select all of these and kind of move them out of the way. Collectively, if I have them all on this one plate, then they're going to be movable by just me going like this. Then I can move it around. So let me go zoom in here one more time. And let me take something a little bit different. So let me go down here. I've got some of this already pre-made for you to enjoy here. So within this, I took this one picture here, and you can see that this one picture, if I go and I vary it like I did before, and I'm going to do more like this or keep the style, it generates, as we see here, 16 more pictures. Over here, excuse me, just a second. So there's a couple of space bar gets you there. So let me zoom into this section of it. So you can see what I started to do here was I started with this picture and I wanted this chef. So I just basically went in here and had it edit and knock out the background for me. I'm not sure why I'm not getting that knock out the background thing, but I could open it up in Photoshop if I wanted to on the web. And so it will then go right to Photoshop on the web. and give me, yep, this is real Photoshop, and it has all the capabilities, a lot of the keyboard shortcuts, and there's my document. What can I do? I could do a generative fill. If I want to take the words out of this, here's my layers, here's my different styles, color, burn, etc. So I can go in here and add text to this document, paint, type, so I could put in different type if I wanted to. And I've got all the typeface choices that I have otherwise. So, wow, what a difference, right? Then I can knock out the background. So what I ended up doing is I knocked out that background. Then I took the picture of the food here. So here's the plate full of, or the salad bowl. I knocked that out. So you can see I took the chef out of this picture, took the other piece from here, and I went down until, oops, I don't want to go there. Let me see if I can get my remix capability. So I can remix based on that. So I'm remixing based upon these two images, and I'm going to get a bunch of things put together here in a few instances. And I can even arrange these so they are put together as a whole. I can download the entire download of this entire group or individually. Now, if you want the high res, you need to separate them and then pick which ones you want and go high res. So I basically took this picture and that picture, and then look what I got. So let me go zoom in so you can really get that it varied just like it said it was going to do, and it now produced all of these different images. So I picked one that I really like. Maybe I like this one. And while I have them as a cluster, it's a good idea to do whatever you're going to do with them as a group first. So I can actually, they're crossing over two artboards. That's why they're kind of messed up here. But when I select them together, I can adjust the spaces vertically and horizontally. And then I can go through each one and I can say, oop, that one, nope, that one, nope. I'm holding down the command key each time. These are fails, just delete. They're out of my system. This one I really like, make that big. Maybe add it to a new artboard over here. Maybe I like this one. Oh, I want a little bit of diversity here. Let me get this one over here, and I can go to town. So this capability to vary and to use more like this and keep the style is just a dream machine for anybody who's in the art world and design world and iteration world. No matter what you are doing, it's just a dream come true. So for iteration, this group of pictures here, oops.
And I think that's a really good spot to land the plane, just because we're coming up on time, and
yeah,
we got to save something for the next show.
Yeah, one more thing that's kind of cool is you can also come down here and you can change. I see that, yeah, the interface is in the way a little bit here. There's a section called, I want to do the style real quickly, and then I'll let it go. So down here, we can generate an image.
Steve Jobs. You always have to have just one more thing.
Just one more, right? Yeah, I studied him for a long time. You have presets. Now, this is where I can take these and put these two elements that I just selected and mash them up. So that's a great way to kind of go about that. And what it does is it's generated all these images right here, and then I can make it mash up one image, and I can pick this image, and I can take this image over here, mash it with that one, and then I can have it generate. And it's using Nana Banana. It's going to put these two images together and actually generate a brand new image. And it looks like it's doing it right here. You could also pick the size and the scale and everything else. I mean, it's just incredible. So yeah, let me get out of here and stop sharing. You'll see these generations. I'll make sure I share them next week. But this is just such a spectacular machine. And then to animate them. So there we go. And I just place this on the canvas. And I'm actually going to take this and make it be our last. Let me zoom out of here real quickly. Just to get this so we can see it. It's behind everything else, I guess, here. So let me take this and move it to the side. Oh, somehow it's behind everything altogether. Anyway, but it becomes an image like this one where it's a concoction of all the different ones. And then you have the capability down here to do that.
Wow.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah, cool, huh?
Well, we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yep.
I think.
Absolutely.
Unless we switch it up and change the channel, but we'll let you know.
Yeah, and we are going to be putting all of these. So take a look for our tool time episodes. 30 minutes each. Perplexity we did, Notebook LM, ChatGPT, download them. We're also going to, was there one more I did too?
FireFly tonight, just now.
FireFly tonight will be added next week. So we'll have those, and the notes and the PowerPoint and the links are going to be all in there in one PDF you can download. So that's our promise. We're building a whole toolkit. If you've got a tool that you'd like to see us use, Suno's definitely on the horizon for us to do. And we did Notebook LM, ChatGPT. Oh, Perplexity was the fourth one. So we have 4 so far. We're looking to do about 30 of these. We're going to use every tool, and we're going to do a super deep dive, just like I did here for Adobe products. I'll be in Adobe Max come at the end of this month. So I'm going to come back with all new things. And let me tell you, I've seen sneak previews for what's coming next. Stay tuned to Adobe, man, because they're having every tool that you have coming in here. And you saw Nana Banana within FireFly and the boards, which was in beta, which will be full release by the time you start to use it. And you can use it right today, exactly the way I just did. So stay tuned and see what's next.
And speaking of what's next, I do want to share a plug for Lovable. If you haven't been following along this week, Lovable is having a 7-day build challenge where every night they drop a new theme, and you have basically 24 hours to build a web app using Lovable. And the key takeaway here is that Gemini is free inside of the app for this week. So you can generate images on Nano Banana. You can call Gemini and make calls to and from the Gemini translation services and conversational services, all free this week, because it's all part of Lovable's new cloud backend. So previously, if you've done anything with Lovable, you've had to connect a Supabase account and a GitHub, and you had to pass secret keys and APIs, and you had to have this whole level of burden. And they said, you know what? We're going to strip all that down and make it just the most simple we can to do.
Yeah.
And the way we do that is by just taking care of all of that for you. So if you haven't vibe coded yet, don't sleep on Lovable. I'm going to give you a little sneak preview. Today is day 4 of 7, and tonight's theme is just build. They want you to come up with a game concept, And so what I was working on, for what I've been working on for the past couple of hours is Commuter Trail. So it's a 2025 rebrand of Oregon Trail for anybody who remembers that.
Oh, wow.
So it allows you to choose your players, and then you have to choose your commute. Do you take the train or the car?
Is that a Pacer? What is that?
I'm sorry?
What is that car? A Pacer?
It is a retro gaming car, officially.
Okay. Do you remember the Pacer?
Hey, if you're gonna if you got to make the commute, you're gonna commute in style, you know. But of course, the obligatory, when you have to take a shortcut, you can either choose to pay the toll to take the overpass or forge the river, because that was always very popular inside of the original Oregon Trail. And no one dies of dysentery on the commute, but you do have to be careful of that gas station sushi. I think on that note, we're going to send us out of here, Rick. We'll catch you next time, and keep checking the channel, subscribe to the channel for all of the latest and greatest information.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Chef Kelly and Jasper. In fact, when they first said that Chef Kelly said she was going to bring Jasper with her, her AI expert, I thought it was the tool called Jasper, because there's an AI tool called Jasper. And I thought, oh, and then a human being shows up. I'm like, holy cow, this is great. What I think was so beautiful about what she had to say is AI could be a place where we take agency and control and responsibility for our food. And then we have enough information that we can fight the powers that be that try to persuade us to eat sugar and smoke cigarettes and drink while we're pregnant. Holy cow. That's just kind of crazy. We're living in a world now where you can see through all of the Wizard of Oz's, magic curtain and all the propaganda and everything else. But it's time to take responsibility and step up and start to learn how to use it to make it a better world. And Chef Kelly is doing just that. And Jasper's learning a way to do responsible, ethical, marketing of this product, which is really a God's gift to the earth. I mean, these people are who we want to have on the show. So if you've got a story to tell about how you're making the world a better place through the use of artificial intelligence and the humanity that's inside of you, and I want to make sure that we understand this is about freaking humans. This is not an AI show. It's saying the humanity gets amplified. So that's what we want. And we want to champion those people and their stories. So that's what Brandon and I are sitting here doing every night, man. We're just having some fun. We're looking at like children on Christmas morning or Hanukkah. We're going to be opening up those presents and just kind of enjoying the lovely life that we have available to us. And no other human being on history has ever had these opportunities. So seize the day, make a difference for others, be of responsibility, and be a gift to the world. Be yourself better in each and every day. And for that, I promise that we are dedicated to the same that you are. You're not the only one, as John Lennon said. So join us to make the world more beautiful every day. Thank you. And good night from AITV Starship.
AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh innovation. AITV Star. Human amplified. Say it loud. RTV. The future worldwide. Ask not what I can do for you, but what you can do with AI. We're the dangerous people who get stuff done. And show you can too. Imagine a beautiful world. With you, we can make it come true.